Today, we are undertaking a deep dive into some source material that will quite literally challenge everything you thought you knew about intimacy, spirituality, and, well, public morals at the turn of last century.
It's an incredible text. We have a dense, highly provocative treatise on spiritual sexuality. It's titled Psychic Wedlock, a treatise on the sacred union of souls beyond the veil.
And the author, Craddock, a mystic and sex educator from the early 20th century, she paid the ultimate price for these ideas.
She absolutely did. This text, written around 1901, wasn't just edgy, it was seen as revolutionary, and it was profoundly controversial.
When we say controversial, we mean she was actively persecuted for this.
Oh, completely. The establishment labeled her and her teachings as, and I'm quoting here, mad, obscene, dangerous. She was arrested multiple times. So our mission today is really to move past that sensational history and understand the systematic spiritual teaching she was actually laying out.
Right. She was trying to revolutionize the concept of love itself.
Exactly. Framing it not as a simple physical act, but as a deliberate path toward, enlightenment.
Okay, let's unpack this system. Because what's fascinating is she isn't offering vague mystical advice. She provides this rigid taxonomy.
A complete roadmap.
She posits 7 distinct modes or gradations of union available to the human soul. It's a spectrum from the purely base, almost animalistic level, all the way up to communion with celestial beings.
And she says almost everyone is stuck in the first 3. That's a crucial insight right there. She's mapping the potential of human connection.
So it's a spectrum, not just good or bad.
Right. It's a ladder.
So starting at the very bottom, gradation 1, she calls it corporeal union. This is the lowest common denominator.
It's the purely mechanical act, just for procreation or, the relief of what she calls animal appetite. It's transactional.
And the result is just low energy. It opens no higher faculties. She says it's often performed ignorantly and selfishly.
And that's the key. It drains both partners. It's intimacy defined by necessity, not creativity.
Okay, so moving up from there, we hit gradation 2. Affectionate union.
And here's where things start to feel human. The physical act is now accompanied by genuine care, tenderness, mutual regard.
It's a huge advance. The motivation shifts from just pure self-gratification to something shared.
Exactly. Mutual kindness. And she concedes this level forms the healthy, sustainable foundation of many happy long-term marriages. Respect has entered the bedroom.
And then you reach gradation 3, which she terms romantic union.
This is where emotion and idealism fully engage. Partners idealize one another. The act is experienced as well as poetry, transcendent feeling.
And she says this is where the spiritual journey actually begins.
That's it. This romantic level indicates the first, often unconscious awakening of higher psychic centers. That feeling of rapture you get in early courtship, that's a spiritual force trying to express itself.
So what's fascinating here is that she's not rejecting the physical. It's not about abandoning the body to reach the spirit.
Precisely. She is absolutely adamant that the higher gradations do not negate the lower. You have to keep the affection, the physical pleasure. The higher consciousness simply incorporates and transcends it. The body is the launch pad, not the destination.
Here's where the source material makes a really dramatic turn. We leave the realm of, let's say, known human experience and start to consciously engage subtle forces. This starts at gradation 4.
This is the breakthrough level. Gradation 4, psychic union. And the focus moves from feeling for your partner to feeling energy with your partner.
Okay, what does it actually mean?
The phenomenon is specific. During Congress, partners become conscious of these subtler energy exchanges. They might perceive colors or distinct lights, geometric patterns, but with their inner mental eye.
So they're literally seeing things.
Or sensing them. They sense powerful energy currents flowing between their bodies, linking the generative centers to the heart and sometimes all the way up to the brow center.
That sounds incredible, but it's also highly subjective. How does she differentiate that from just, imagination? Couldn't someone just be visualizing those colors?
That is the critical question she anticipates. And she argues the difference lies in 2 things: tangibility and repeatability. It's repeatable, and the sensation is unmistakable. It feels, she says, more real than mental fantasy. And that linking of the 3 energy centers, sex, heart, brow, that's the signature of a genuine energy flow. This, she says, is the entry point into practical tantra.
And if you can establish that flow of conscious psychic energy, that opens the door to the next level, gradation 5, magical union.
This is This is practical occultism. It is the conscious, intentional direction of the tremendous forces generated by that union towards specific, willful purposes.
So you're channeling that life force, that creative energy, to do things like healing or charging objects or projecting consciousness.
Yes, and it is immensely powerful, which is why this is where Craddock inserts one of her most solemn warnings.
She's very emphatic here.
She says, engaging in magical union without rigorous moral development, without disciplined guidance, well, it courts catastrophe. The energy is blind, and impure motives like selfishness or pride act as beacons, attracting, and this is her phrase, entities of a low and troublesome character.
Causing severe karmic damage.
And emotional distress. It's a potent tool that requires a fixed moral compass before you can even think about handling it safely.
Okay. But assuming the seeker has that moral discipline, we can vault up to gradation 6, mystical union.
A highly exalted stage. The goal now transcends the partners themselves. The individual ego temporarily dissolves. They cease to be two distinct people. They become, for a moment, a single unified being. Time just collapses.
And the climax becomes, as she says, a cosmic event. There's a direct apprehension of the divine, not outside of yourself, but through your partner.
Exactly. And that union serves mutual evolution. It's not just a momentary flash of bliss for the human. It prepares both partners for the final step.
Which brings us to the ultimate destination, gradation 7, celestial union, or communion beyond the veil.
This is the absolute core teaching of psychic wedlock. This is the union, not between two humans, but between a human soul and a discarnate entity.
Like an angel, an ascended master, or what the classical Greeks called a daemon.
Yes, and we need to pause on that word. When people hear daemon, they think of demons.
The Christian sense of the word.
Right. But she's referencing the classical Greek concept, like Socrates' daemon, a guiding inner spirit, a benevolent discarnate mentor. She says these are suitable partners, but this union is not for the uninitiated. She is fiercely prescriptive about the preparations required.
These preparations are rigorous. The body is the temple, and her rules are incredibly demanding, especially for 1901.
Oh, absolutely. She demands daily cleansing of the genital centers, abstaining from alcohol and tobacco, regular exercise like yoga, just to ensure the vital force can circulate freely.
It sounds less like intimacy advice and more like a regimen for an ascetic monk.
Well, she insists the physical condition dictates the spiritual quality. An impure vehicle can't conduct high-grade spiritual electricity.
And the absolute core teaching, the mechanism that frees up all this energy, is the regulation of generative force, sublimation.
This is vital, and it completely contradicted the popular male notions of the time, which stressed frequent release. She warns that dissipation is a grave error. It leads to enervation, emotional instability.
So practically speaking, what does she advise for a married couple, for example?
She advises less frequent but highly conscious congress, maybe weekly or even monthly. But it should be characterized by prolonged, gentle exchange, delayed male crisis for mutual fulfillment. The goal is energetic conservation.
So the force is circulated and reabsorbed.
Exactly. It becomes available for creative work, spiritual development, awakening dormant faculties. It's transmutation of energy, not suppression.
And this is all underpinned by the spiritual and moral preparations. These aren't just about being a good person, they're energetic protection.
That's it. She insists on genuine purity, dedicating the sexual nature to sacred purposes, absolute truthfulness, active compassion to open the heart center, and maybe most importantly, courage.
Courage to face opposition, but also to stand against invisible perils.
Because when you open yourself up to the astral plane, you're sending out an invitation. And as we've established, not all the entities who might show up are benevolent.
She has very clear categories of who not to invite to this celestial union.
You have to avoid the lower life forms. The first danger category is shells and phantoms. These are the remnants of the deceased. The lower astral and etheric matter, the soul sheds after death.
So they might have memories, but they're hollow.
Exactly. They are not the true individual. And Craddock warns these phantoms are often sexually attracted, and specifically vampiric. They seek to draw vital force from the human partner.
Leaving you depressed, exhausted, physically ill.
They use your energy to briefly mimic life. Then you have the earthbound spirits, actual deceased humans stuck in the lower astral due to attachments, wholly inappropriate partners.
And then there's the most dangerous category, the demon.
And she doesn't mean a cartoon devil with a pitchfork. She means malevolent, high-level entities that operate with extreme subtlety. They present themselves deceptively as angels of light or ascended masters to gain your trust.
That's a serious warning. What are the red flags? What behaviors does she cite as proof that an entity is malevolent?
Their influence always encourages isolation and spiritual pride, this belief that you are special, chosen, exempt from moral law. They try to monopolize your time and sever all your healthy human ties. So the crucial skill for you, the learner, is discrimination. She calls it the most critical faculty you possess.
You have to rigorously test the spirits. She doesn't just say, be careful. She gives a 4-point interrogation. What's the protocol?
The first test is pragmatic, by their fruits. Does the contact lead to greater love, wisdom, and service, or does it leave you with fear, isolation, and that draining fatigue we talked about?
So test the outcome first. What's the second layer of scrutiny?
By their teaching. Does the entity's communication align with universal spiritual law, love, compassion, truth? Or does it encourage you to believe you're above morality? If it tells you to abandon your human responsibilities, that's a huge warning sign.
That makes sense. The path to the highest shouldn't require you to become a terrible person. What about the third test?
By your freedom. Does the entity encourage you to question, to think critically? Or does it demand slavish obedience and try to cut you off from your existing relationships? A genuine guide empowers you. A low entity seeks dependence.
And finally, the ultimate esoteric test, by sacred names or intuition.
Craddock notes that lower entities are immediately repelled by the invocation of the highest good, or the source, whatever name you give it. And your intuition, which has been sharpened by all these preparations, will also give you an unmistakable feeling of repulsion.
Okay, so if the contact is established and passes all these tests, we get to the actual phenomenology of it. How does she describe the feeling of this non-physical union?
It involves the subtle body, the astral double, which is interpenetrated by the discarnate entity. And the experience is felt as intensely real. Sometimes, she says, far more vivid than physical sensation.
So it's not like imagination?
No. Think of it more like two perfectly tuned tuning forks resonating with each other. The mechanics involve the connection of those three centers, sexual, heart, and brow, in one unified circuit.
And the climax?
It's described as far more extensive than a physical orgasm. It involves the entire energetic body, and crucially, rather than leading to depletion, it results in clarification and energization. The afterglow, she notes, might illuminate a person's life and creativity for days.
But even after all this work, the perils never truly disappear. And Craddock knew these dangers firsthand.
Exactly. The internal peril of spiritual pride is always there, the temptation to believe you're uniquely chosen, and the external peril of vampirism, where contact leaves you inexplicably drained.
And we have to remember the peril that defined her life. Persecution. She wasn't just writing about these things. She was arrested, tried, and imprisoned for them. She's proof that challenging the accepted definitions of morality carries real, concrete consequences.
So what does this all mean for us? The purpose of this whole system, from gradation 1 to 7, isn't about escaping the physical world. It's about integration. The union, whether with a human or a celestial guide, serves mutual evolution.
So the key ethical realization she lands on is that desire itself must be transformed, not suppressed.
Yes, every craving, every longing is a partial expression of the soul's fundamental desire for union with the source. Craddock is just providing a manual for how to properly direct that tremendous longing upwards.
And that framework offers a profound lens to view human history through. Craddock's systematic taxonomy connects these intense, erotic, and often misunderstood experiences from completely disparate traditions.
From Christian mystics like Saint Teresa of Avila.
Right, her description of the angel piercing her heart with a golden spear, it's so energetic, so intimate.
To Sufi poets talking about divine intoxication. To the explicit practices of Tantra. It suggests a single, universal, though often veiled, pattern of intimate spiritual experience. It makes you wonder, are these experiences just inherent to human potential? And is the structure Craddock provides simply the map we lost? And that's the challenge for you, the learner. Take Craddock's 7 gradations and explore those historical accounts of mystical marriage. See if their highly subjective, ecstatic experiences fit into her detailed, systematic taxonomy. The most potent truths, as Ida Craddock discovered, are often found at that revolutionary intersection of the body and the spirit.